sick of this again. I'm getting sick of all this waiting. Something perfect and good, and I'm scared of all my friends. We're all not calling, all not dead. All our hopes and all our fears, letting go is love. Hope we don't show, hope we don't die, hope we all feel alright. Yeah, I feel alright. Alright. Falling, it's supposed to be so fun, but all I get is sick and numb, and I'm barely breathing when all my fears descend. But I'm not falling, I'm not dead. All our hopes, all our fears, letting go is love. Hope we don't choke, hope we don't die, hope we all feel alright. Oh, feel alright. I hope we all feel alright. We are all so brave. We are all so scared. We are all afraid. We're all not falling, all not dead. All our hopes, all our fears, letting go is love. Hope we don't choke, hope we don't die, I hope we all. I said all our hopes, all our fears, letting go is love. Hope we don't choke, hope we don't die, hope we all feel alright. We are all so brave. We are all so scared. We are all afraid. We're all not falling. I hope we all feel alright. Letting go is love. So here we are now, again. I'm getting sick of this again. I'm getting sick of all this waiting. Something perfect and good, and I'm scared of all my friends. We're all not calling, all not dead. All our hopes and all our fears, letting go is love. Hope we don't choke, hope we don't die, hope we all feel alright. Yeah, I feel alright. Alright.
Yo, yo, we are back. Tuesday night. Oh, yeah, hang on a second. Let me remember it. Oh, yeah, here it is. You guys ready for it? Here it is. Ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, welcome back to What's That Noise? You got, oh, watch out. We're back. Tuesday night. We got our buddy Evan on the show tonight. We'll get to him in a little bit. You heard... that song that you heard was from a band called Gratitude. We're going to talk about that for a second as well. But first and foremost, yeah, welcome back. We are here. It is Tuesday. We're going to chop it up as we always do. So thanks for joining us and doing the thing. I think we'll kick it off with Brad's Corner like we usually do. Get caught up
Sticking
on
me over in the corner over here.
Yeah, just get caught up on where we left off and what's going on, and you know, let's go on down to Bradtown, see what he's talking about.
Should I wait for our producer?
There he is, Brad Gunnarsson, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you. Couple cool new releases this past week on Friday. Joe, I know you like this band too, Tiger's Jaw.
Oh yeah, I like Tiger's Jaw.
New record is really good. It's called I Won't Care How You Remember Me. It's out on Hopeless Records. Really good. If you like Tiger's Jaw, then you will like this record. They don't reinvent themselves at all, but it's just a full record of good songs.
Cool.
Also out this past Friday is Jonah Matranga Songs, which we've talked about a bunch on the stream, and the whole thing is finally out.
Yeah, you guys got to go listen to, pick up, whatever, do the thing. Check that record out. I've said it a bunch. I'll keep saying it. I'm proud of it. Me and Jonah worked our asses off, as did Brad. It's finally out, and if you don't pick it up, I'm coming for you. What else you got, Brad?
A couple album anniversaries for this week. A couple for today exactly. In 2018, a record by Liza Ann called "Fine But Dying," which is a hilarious title, but it's a great record.
Not hip.
I got to see her a couple times on that album cycle tour. Really good. Check it out. Also, this day in 1987. Any guesses?
87.
Joe wasn't born yet.
What year were you born, Joe? 86.
I was doing just fine in 87.
Shit, man, I don't know. I'm gonna say like Poison.
I mean, that's, I would have guessed that too, but U2, the Joshua Tree.
Oh,
which
slightly better album than the Poison album, but
definitely a great record.
That's one of my favorite U2 records, and that was like the Gloria Records big. Everyone kind of connected on that record.
Yeah,
that was a big one for us. Joshua Tree. Yep.
Yeah, I've still got that on vinyl from when I was 11 at that point.
Right.
Way older than Joe.
Joe was 1.
But I've still got that record on vinyl from when I was a kid. Also, yesterday in 2005 was the Gratitude record.
Yes.
Jeremy's got a few things to show you.
So for those who don't know, and then speaking of Jonah, once again, who we've introduced you to on the show, Jonah and I played together in a band for a couple years called Gratitude. And it really was like, a lot of people have said, and I think it's partially true, like we kind of got one of the last like large record deals for an unknown band. We signed to a major label. It was like, it really was kind of a whirlwind experience. It was a very short-lived band, unfortunately, but we signed to Atlantic Records before we played a show, which is ridiculous in and of itself, but we had a record deal with Atlantic before we ever played a show. We got to go to Los Angeles, and we lived in the apartments in Burbank called the Oakwoods, which is kind of where you go if you're transplanted to LA to make a TV show or an album or whatever. Instead of a hotel, you get these kind of pre-furnished apartments called the Oakwoods, and you go down. I remember we would walk down to the pool, and like one side of the pool would be like the Good Charlotte dudes, because they were like making a record somewhere and they had all their like eyeliner and all their shit on. And then like the other side of the pool would be like all these like kind of wannabe child stars and their, stage moms and stuff. And it was a very, very strange vibe. I remember at one point Kim Deal from the Pixies was just like walking through the driveway one day, and we freaked out about that kind of. A lot of like, it was kind of a lot of random celebrities, and the Oakwoods is the place where Rick James passed away, actually. OD'd there. But anyway, yeah, so we lived in the Oakwoods. We did a bunch of pre-production. We made a record at this studio that's now called East West. That was then called Cello, which is just a beautiful studio. A ton of insane records have been made there. Probably most notably would be Pet Sounds by the Beach Boys. Fairly well-received album.
Heard of them.
Who's that?
Yeah, but so we got to, again, we were spoiled rotten. We were on Atlantic Records. We were in the studio for 4 months. We were in Studio 1, the main studio, for 4 months. And in Studio 2, in the time that we were there, we saw Audio Slave in and out of there. John Frusciante was in and out of there. Brian Wilson from the Beach Boys was in and out of there. And then a bunch of others that I can't remember. But I definitely, we'd be sitting outside having a cigarette, and fucking Chris Cornell would show up on some $70,000 custom motorcycle. Hey, boys, and walk in. It's like, what the hell, Really incredible time. And they pissed away a ton of money on a bunch of young dudes. We got to make a record with a guy named Jim Scott. I wanted to pull this up just to give you a taste. We got to showcase for a bunch of producers, but we ended up going with Jim Scott because he made a little record called Wildflowers by Tom Petty. He also made a Rolling Stones album. So these are, I've got his Wikipedia pulled up in front of me, and instead of pulling up his discography, we just have the Grammy section of his discography, which includes Sting, Petty, Rolling Stones, Santana, Red Hot Chili Peppers, more Tom Petty, Rage Against the Machine, Foo Fighters, Audio Slave, Matchbox 20, Jason Mraz, the Big Dixie Chicks record, a Dido album, Tedeschi Trucks. Those are just the Grammy records. He's worked with Slayer. He worked with Rick Rubin for many years. He's done a zillion records. He did a Styx record. He did a Hanson record. He did, we could spend the next 2 hours talking about what he did. He's in the Sound City movie, the Foo Fighters Sound City movie. He is a total class act. He I don't know. I mean, I was a record maker before I met him, but he kind of, he really made me want to be a better record maker, essentially. So happy anniversary to that thing, or I guess birthday to that record. I'm going to show it to you right now. So, right, the Gratitude album, 16 years ago, yesterday, this thing hit the streets. Pretty incredible, man.
I bought that CD the day it came out.
Did you? I'm surprised I didn't give you one. I should have gave you one, Brad.
See you
Yeah, wing, yeah. But yeah, really great time. I put up a little post on my Facebook about that record yesterday, and I was just shocked at kind of like how much feedback it got. How many people still say like that was a really great record, or was a really important record to them for whatever reason. There was all of a sudden like there was a bunch of likes and whatever on the post, but then there was kind of this long trail of
dude, that record is so sick looking.
yeah, there you go, custom vinyl. Atlantic shelling out those ducats. Yeah, it was a really
something.
Right. It was a really great time. I'm really proud of that record, and if you want to check it out, check out Gratitude. We only made one record. You saw the cover. Feel free to download it or steal it or whatever, because Atlantic's not going to give me a nickel if you pay for it. So I could give a shit, but you know what I'm saying. But yeah, super, super proud of that record. Check it out if you want. I wanted to give that just a little more love on the show today. But so yeah, so then let's kind of fast forward a little bit. So before Gratitude and then after Gratitude, once Gratitude finally split up, we didn't stay together long. Tumultuous major label deal. There's a pretty expensive video on YouTube if you want to see that too. See a young JT.
I'll throw it in the chat.
Playing guitar on the beaches of Malibu. Yeah, so we had a quick on and off ride with them before I ended up in Gratitude, and then after Gratitude ended, I went back to my kind of original band that I've had off and on for, 15 years or whatever, a band called Attention. So Attention had made some records, then kind of went away for a while Gratitude made that album. and then did some touring. We got to tour with Jimmy Eat World and do a Warp tour, do a Vans AP Presents tour with a bunch of great bands. We got to do a bunch of great touring, Reading and Leeds, a bunch of UK touring. And anyway, so that band folds. And then David and I, David played drums in Gratitude, also played in Attention, which was the band that came before Gratitude and came back after Gratitude. So Gratitude folds up. Me and David decide we got to keep playing. We end up pulling Bob, who was the bass player of Gratitude, out of San Francisco, move him back to Minneapolis, and kind of relaunched Attention. Which brings me to, so then we made an EP, we went back out to Los Angeles, made an EP with a guy named Chris Testa, who was the engineer underneath Jim on the Gratitude record. We went out there for a week, made a record, brought it back here, decided we wanted to hire a mixer. So we started looking around locally. There was a company in town at the time called World Record Productions, which consisted of a producer named Matt Kirkwald, a mixer named James Harley, and then their assistant was a guy named Evan Bakke. So we decided to hire James to mix the Attention EP. We went to the studio. That was my first time meeting Evan. Matt Kirkwald at the time, who was the producer, kind of half of their team, was not involved because it was just a mix project. We had already recorded the album. So I meet Bakke, I meet James. Everyone calls him Fluff. Bakke and James mixed the first Attention EP. And shortly after that, James and Matt Kirkwald's kind of partnership dissolved. James found himself kind of looking for a new producer, half of his puzzle. He's more of a mixer. He's kind of become an engineer. He's always been an engineer. He's become more of a producer as well, but kind of, fancied himself more of a mixer than a producer. Long story short, or maybe not because it's already long, I ended up kind of taking Matt Kirkwald's place, and then World Record Productions became me, James Harley, and Evan Bakke. And then me and Evan just got really close over the years, and he had keys to the studio. He was allowed in my studio anytime, whether I was there or not, to do whatever he wanted. We made a bunch of records together. We made the next few Attention records together. Kind of down the road a ways, the partnership, the World Record Productions partnership, kind of re-dissolved. I decided to kind of go back to being independent and not working with Harley kind of all the time. But me and Evan stayed really close. And actually, once that dissolved, me and Evan almost started working together more in a weird, I don't know, this is weird, but, and then we made a bunch of records through the years for different artists. He's kind of worked on almost every Attention release since I've met him in some form or another. The very last Attention record, and I know a bunch of people don't know about any of these Attention records. We are going to circle back and dig into the world of Attention. It's pretty vast because it was a band for a long time. We made a bunch of records. I got a zillion stories about that, which we'll get to. But the very last Attention record was a record named Tattered Youth, and essentially that record was made by me and Bakke. We still had Eric, our other guitar player in the band, but we kind of lost the lineup. So it was, I don't know, me and Bakke just really figured out that we were kind of like peanut butter and jelly in the studio. We're totally different, but we work together really well. And the workflow just, I don't know, we can kind of read each other's minds. If something didn't happen, he knows, I know, we just do it again. There's kind of cut out a lot of the talking, and there's, I don't know, very little arguing or whatever. It's just kind of like, this is what we want to do. We know how to do it. Let's go. So, ended up being a really great relationship. And then he ended up moving out to the East Coast to start, kind of start a family, also kind of look for a little bit bigger pool, I guess, to work in. Minneapolis is a big music town, but it's also kind of a small music town in a lot of ways. I mean, compared to New York, obviously. So he moved out there and ended up in Connecticut and ended up kind of head engineer and kind of studio manager, really, for a place called the Power Station New England, which is just an absolutely incredible studio. I've showed it on the Instagram a little bit, on my Instagram in the past. I've been out there a handful of times making some records with him. And it's just a wonderful studio. He's a wonderful dude. He's made a lot of records since then. He's brought me out to play drums on a couple different projects that, he's recorded and produced, and just a good time. So we, as we've talked about figuring out ways to kind of change up the show and, just different things we can do, we figured instead of kind of digging into Pro Tools tonight or a session per se, why not talk to another guy who makes records for a living and now is living in Connecticut and doing his thing, and just to get another perspective. And like I said, me and Evan know each other really well, but I like to introduce the stream to new people. And everyone, we're all making records, we're all doing the same thing kind of, but we're all doing it different ways, because different tastes, different techniques. It's I don't know, it's interesting. Me and Evan talk a lot, and it's kind of like, what have you been doing? What do you work? Oh, what are you using on your master bus? I'm using this. Like, okay. And then we try shit out or whatever, and it's it's been a cool thing. So
right quick before we bring Evan in, Diamond Dave was kind of asking why you guys.
Diamond Dave, what's up, buddy?
He was asking why you redid "Feel All Right" because you originally did that with Fields. Right?
Good, yeah, okay. So let's circle back to that. We started the show with a song called "Feel All Right," which was a gratitude song. I wanted to play it because again, it was the birthday of that record. I want to talk about that record. The version that I played. It's not the version that's on the record for a couple reasons. One, because we went and re-recorded it after the fact and made a new version that we thought was really awesome. So I wanted to show that. And two, I don't think that will get taken off of YouTube for playing the alternate version because it wasn't on the record. I don't know if Warner Brothers is going to chase us down, but if you do, anyway. But yeah, and so on another kind of small world circle, if you will, when we went back to record Feel All Right, the song that I played in the intro, we went to a place in Burbank, a different studio called Glenwood, and we recorded with John Fields. John Fields has since become, a longtime friend, total mentor, and also has produced the last several Soul Asylum records. So I got to work with him again recently on Hurry Up and Wait, which it's kind of funny, full circle situation. But yeah, so we re-recorded that song, Dave, essentially because at that point, Atlantic, I think, was still excited about us and really thought that should be the next single and wanted to see if maybe we could record a different version. John at the time had the Switchfoot albums that were kind of out and were super, super popular. There's actually a great story, I may as well tell. There's a great story about this. So Atlantic decides, we're going to re-record Feel All Right. We think it's a good idea. We want to do it with a different producer, get a little fresh sound, blah, 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 blah. Who should we get, So this whole conversation goes around. A bunch of great names are mentioned. I can't remember who. At some point, I threw out there to the management. I know I've told Brad this story. I threw out, hey, why not John Fields? And there was 3 different managers kind of on our management team. I named names in the past on Brad's podcast, I think, so you can go back and get the total dirt if you want there. But one of the managers kind of gave me the, no, John Fields is booked 6 months out and we can't afford him. And don't even think about it, blah, blah, blah. Shut it down. And I remember being like, I'm not buying it. Like, again, we're on Atlantic, so they're like throwing money at stuff, like money that we think is insane, but to them is not that much. So me being me, I just got a hold of Fields. And I said, hey, man, I got this band. We're on Atlantic. We need to do a tune. I knew how much money the budget was. I think I told him that. I probably shouldn't have. But he was like, oh, yeah, we could do it for exactly that amount of money. But
so he would have done it for less is what he's saying.
Right. But long story short, we ended up getting Fields. Or Fields was like, send me the tune. I sent him the tune. We talked a little bit. Hey, I'd be into it. We could totally do it. So then I went back to management thinking like, all right, man, they're going to be stoked. I went and got the guy that they said we couldn't get. They weren't super stoked at first. They were stoked that Fields was interested, but they were pissed at me for going, above their word of it can't happen and making it. Like, they didn't appreciate me kind of going around the power structure and making the shit happen anyway.
It was above your pay grade.
Right, above my pay grade. Ultimately, we did do the song with John Fields. Right, just play the guitar, tall fucker. Yeah, they were pissed at me. But we ended up working with Fields. The song came out awesome. Unfortunately, the song never saw the light of day because not too long after that, as the story goes, the the head of Atlantic Records at the time, I'm not sure if he still is, was a guy named Leor Cohn, famous label guy, been around forever. It was a big staff meeting, the long table with all the A&R guys and all the peons and all the assistants and all the stuff. And they're going down the list, and he's got the sheet of paper, and apparently he gets to like line whatever, 37, and he goes, okay, who the fuck is Gratitude, and why do I have $1 million invested in them? And we were dropped pretty much the next day. So you know, easy come, easy go, folks. Believe me. But we had a great time. I wouldn't change it for the world. Like I said, the experience with Jim Scott, even if we didn't get to tour, even if we didn't get to make a video and do all the other shit that we got to do, which was awesome, I'd do it all again just to hang out with Jim Scott for 3 months. You know, it was really great. So anyway, that's kind of the quick story of Gratitude. And
that was Diamond Dave on the wondering why
Diamond
why they got
Dave. So
redone.
Diamond Dave was a at the time was a tech for a band called Big City Rock, who toured with Gratitude quite a bit and was also on Atlantic Records. And I actually ended up filling in for Big City Rock for a couple shows once upon a time. We went on tour with oh man, I'm not gonna remember. There was this kid who was like a big actor. I can't remember his name. He had a band. We went on tour with him for a little while. Good story. But anyway, without further ado, I think if we're getting Bakke queued up here, we had him a second ago. We're going to get Bakke on the line,
He wandered
and we're
off.
going to bring him in, and we're just going to talk about making records as soon as he's back. I think he just wandered off for a second. Here
There
he
he
comes
is.
now. So yeah, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, my good friend and now yours, Mr. Evan Bakke. What's up, bro?
Dapper.
There he is. How are you, bud?
We should have put on some some fake applause or something, like some TV,
How's that?
like an applause track. Yeah. I
What's
love
going on out there, Evan? Talk to me, baby.
Man, nothing. Just listening to you talk like a true podcaster is
I know, it's weird, right? I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just pretty good at
awesome.
pretending. But yeah, so I was trying to just give the stream people like the quick background of like how we met, which I think I kind of did. But so I guess what was your take on that? Because we didn't know each other at all before we ended up mixing that first Attention EP, and then
I
we kind of
remember at that point, Fluff and I were like really in deep. Fluff and I were like tied at the hip on everything.
right.
And I don't know when you came in. It was probably after the first song that was mixed or something.
Yeah, I think you guys spent some time without us.
Yeah, I think there was at least a day or two without you guys. And I just remember one time you walked in the room and you were like, yo, if you guys want to hire a drummer, I know who you should hire. And Fluff was like, oh yeah, who? You go, me.
I said that? I don't even know you guys yet. Me.
Yeah, I just remember thinking like, yeah, okay.
I don't know what all that
Right.
wind noise is. Yeah, right. That sounds like some shit I would say though, for sure. Me.
Other than that, I don't really remember too much about that whole process or that whole time.
Yeah, my only one real story similar to the one you just said that I remember about that is Dave coming in to the session for the first time and looking at the console. And at one of the channels, Fluff had labeled mult, which for those who don't know means like a multiple or a double, like a vocal and then a double. Some would write double. He wrote mult. And Dave walks up to the console and points at it and looks at Harley and he's like, what's up with this mult? And Harley looked dead at him, and we didn't know each other well at all yet. And Harley just goes, what's up with you? It was so, I remember that we like just kind of fell out laughing. But yeah, and then I remember that there was a little bit like right away early on, me, you, and Harley kind of started broing down like a little bit extra. Like we would have the session until whatever, 10 o'clock. The rest of the band would leave. And basically the moment the rest of those guys left, it was like all three of us lit up cigarettes and then hung out until 4 a.m. or whatever.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, I was like, okay,
was,
all those other guys are gone now. We can just kind of like hang out and do shit and smoke cigarettes and talk shit. And like I think we spend a lot of time together on the late night kind of after the session thing or whatever.
Those days were definitely like show up at the studio around like 9 a.m. and go home around like 3 or 4 a.m.
Yeah. They were long days.
Yeah. I miss those days actually.
Yeah, I don't quite have the juice for those days anymore. I don't know about you, but those used to be like those 12, 15-hour days, no big deal. Like now even getting a 10 for me is pushing it. I like an 8 now at the studio.
I know, man. I got a 1-year-old, so
right. That's a whole nother level.
He's up at 6.
No matter what time you got home.
Screaming, Dad,
right.
Let's go.
No matter what's happening at the studio today or last night or whatever, right?
Right. You're cooking me an egg at 6:15.
Let's go. Pop. Right. Let's get it. Yeah. No, that's awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I don't know. Then I can't really remember what happened after that, but we were talking about what, like 2007 or 2000. I think it was 2007. I just looked at the email, so it was 2007.
Sounds right. I don't know.
And then Fluff and I were working at the boiler room down in the dungeon of the WCCO radio building.
Right. I never did see that place. I remember hearing about it. The boiler room, it was called, right? Or something like that. Oh,
that place was great.
Oh yeah.
Super small little studio. It was really cool. And then one day Fluff walked in, was just kind of like, I think I might just like move over and work with Utero.
Right.
And you and I still didn't know each other that well at that point. Honestly, I feel like you and I kind of didn't know each other until like a year or two into me working at your studio.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, Fluff, there was a thing for a while. And it's funny. It's funny to go back and revisit it now, but there was like a little thing for a while. I think it was mostly just Fluff came up kind of in the, under a guy named Tom Tucker, who was a very famous guy here, who's no longer alive. But he came up in like, I don't know, I guess what you would call kind of a proper old school studio channels in a way. So there was like this weird thing where like when me and Fluff decided to hook up after Kirkwald left, he was like, okay, well, I'm going to be the mixer guy. You're going to be the new producer. And then it was like, and Evan's the assistant. And it was kind of like, I don't know. It just seemed like he kind of always had you upstairs, or like there was like kind of like this, we need you for this. We don't need you for that. And I think there was a little weirdness at first. I remember, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I think, and rightfully so, I think at the time you kind of felt like, well, who the fuck is this new guy? I've been working with Fluff forever. Like, not, you know what I mean? Like, I think there was a little bit of rub at first until we got to know each other. I specifically remember one time that we actually kind of did rub. It was funny because we didn't know each other that well. So we were making a record for that band called The Lake Effect. Remember those guys?
Yeah, I remember those guys.
We were at the studio one day, and again, this was like one of the very earliest ones where me, Evan, and James were kind of all three on the production team working with this band. We had done some drums over at a place in town called Terrarium. Then we came back to my studio, which was called Pound Sound at the time. We're working on something. There's another guy who's the son of the guy who owns the Pound Sound building, who you had just kind of met. And his name is Eric. We all refer to him as the E-Dog. And until
I was called Snake.
Or Snake. Yeah, it used to be Snake for a long time. Then it changed to E-Dog. But as the stream viewers can guess, anyone with a nickname like Snake is probably a pretty intense dude. This dude is and was. And I just remember, like, the Lake Effect was there. Snake dropped by to grab something and left. Something happened, whatever. He was in and out. And then I said something about Eric. I forget what. I said, some blah, blah, blah. And, like, Evan, just jokingly, but again, I didn't know his sense of humor. Like, Evan's like, nah, that dude sucks. Nah. And I remember just being like, whoa, what? And you're like, yeah, that dude's a clown. And like in front of the band and everybody, I was like, yo, that dude is like one of my friends. So if you're going to talk like that, we got a problem. Straight up. And then Harley was like, hey, you two can't do this in front of the client or whatever. And it was like this whole thing or whatever. I think that was the last time we ever rubbed. But it was like, I think after that, like I realized like, A, Evan was kidding. And I think you realized like, B, wow, Tap like stands up for his homies. Like, whoa, you know, like so.
I don't remember that at all.
I remember it so specifically. You're like, that dude's a clown, and I was just like, yo, what'd you say, man? Like, I got hot about it. Like, I can't have you talking like that in here, dude. You know.
Yeah.
I think that was the last argument we've ever had.
I will say this: every once in a while, I think about some conversations that I had with Snake, like one-on-one, and like. That guy's awesome, man. I
Totally,
love that guy.
Totally. Once you get to know him, he'll go to the end of the earth to help you out. You know.
But if you don't know him,
he'd scare the shit out of you.
Punch you in the face,
and he might. Right, and he might, and he could, and it'll hurt. You might not get up. Right. He's a great dude. He's a tough dude. He's helped me out a million times, and he's like a brother to me in a lot of ways. And his dad is a guy named John, who is a total character, Big Chani as we call him, and. Evan knows all the story. I mean, the guy is like, you can make a movie about him. You know, he's just everything he says is hilarious. All these stories and jokes. He'd walk in the studio.
Half the time I'm on the phone with a manager, I think like, okay, wait. What would Big Chani say now?
Yeah,
that's how I'm gonna respond.
I remember like,
often, you want the studio for like half price for 6 weeks.
Nah. I remember, dude, me and you often, like if we were taking a break or whatever, doing something quiet or whatever, sometimes we'd open up the studio doors. So
just crack the door and just listen to him talk.
Just listen to him. So for those who don't know, the studio was kind of in the back of this building. The rest of the building was a booking agency. And John, the guy we're talking about, is the head agent owner of this booking agency. So we would just open up the doors to the studio. And even though he was all the way on the far end of the building, he just talked so loud and be chewing on these people, and we used to just listen to him and like pick up.
Are you done talking?
Yeah.
Now I'm gonna talk.
Yeah. Now I'm gonna talk, and I'm gonna say some things, and you're not gonna like them very much. Ready? Here we go. And me and you would just be dying writing the shit down, and literally, there are lyrics in some of the Attention records on the last ones that were like one-liner zingers from Big Johnny. We're like, dude, gotta put that in something. There's one song, the whole hook of the song is The People Want to Believe. And that was totally Big. Johnny was coming down there talking about something, and there was something going on, and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah,
and he said the whole
other
line.
Thing Big Johnny would do. He would just, it didn't matter if you were right in the middle of the take, he would just walk right in.
He'd just walk in and start telling you what he was thinking about. Right.
Yeah.
Hawaiian shirt, gold chain.
To do with music. He would just talking.
What are you guys doing? Like, we're in the middle of a vocal take. No, that's cool. No big deal. He'd just sit down and crack a beer and whatever. Let me tell you guys something. I was talking to so-and-so today, and let me tell you what I told him. You know?
With always with like a Hawaiian shirt on, with his chest hair hanging out, and some gold chain.
Hair down, chain
hair
on.
Down, always looking good, sunglasses.
Yeah, he'd flip the door open and just look at us and shake his head. What the fuck's going on down here? Yeah.
You guys are pit bulls. Look at you, brutal.
You guys
dogs.
are pit bulls down here. You're just wild dogs down here.
One thing about Fluff is at that point, like he and I we had a relationship like I still haven't had anything like that to this point in my life.
Right.
Where like when Fluff and I met, Fluff first of all is like probably the him and Kirkwald are probably the two most important people in my career.
Yeah,
because they really taught me how to make a record. They
right.
And I didn't have any idea what I was walking into when I met those guys. But
right.
To make a super long story short, at that point, I could anticipate every one of Fluff's moves,
right.
and that was not something that like I looked at as a bad thing. It was something I looked at as like we're freaking connected.
That's right. And at the time, your role was his assistant. So like, that's
Yeah.
what a real assistant is. You're supposed to be one step ahead of the guy, kind of like, like if he's about to ask you to patch in an 1176 on the vocal, you might actually be hitting the chords right. And he's like, hey, would you? And you're like, yeah, I just did it. Like.
Yeah. There was a lot of that.
That's what it's about.
We were like inside each other's minds.
Right.
I remember one time, like, it was at A440. We were mixing, or Fluff was mixing. Fluff and Kirkwall were working with this country guy, and I can't remember his name. I think it was Rich something from somewhere down south.
Okay.
And we were doing like heavy days, and I think it was like butting up. We were, for a little while, Fluff was kind of like the main guy in Minnesota for mixing.
Totally.
He was like
totally
the total dude.
He was the dude. Yep.
And I was his assistant for a big chunk of that. Smaz was his assistant before that.
Right. I only met Smaz one time. Yep.
Smaz was awesome.
Yeah.
Like, and I remember the first day I met Smaz too. But Smaz taught me a lot too.
Mm-hmm.
But he had another job, so he didn't have like the flexibility to just like drop everything like I did.
Right.
And I took it to heart that like, okay, I really want to work with this guy. So I had heard like Down and Above stuff and the Quiet Drive or the Sneaker 2 Bomb stuff.
Totally.
And that was the type of music that I liked, and they were doing it definitely better than anyone else at that point.
They were the dudes in Minnesota, right? They were the young team in Minnesota, in Minneapolis. That was right. If you could afford it to go to like the real deal, they were kind of the dudes,
Which
right?
Is weird to think that like I am now older, significantly older than Fluff was when I was assisting for him.
Right. You're older now than he was then, right?
Yeah, it's wild.
I'm glad you say that, man, because like I don't know. I certainly same. Like I didn't come up under Fluff the same way you did, but we worked together a lot. And now that I'm mixing a lot of records, at that point I wasn't doing any mixing. I was just kind of helping with production. I was doing a lot of playing. I think that was the big lure for Fluff with me, is like, this dude can play guitar, bass, and drums, like, because Fluff wasn't a player. He's a mixer. Like, that's his instrument. He doesn't, he's not gonna.
He's like one of the best tracking engineers I've ever been around.
Yeah, super detailed tracking engineer.
And that's just, that's a lost art at this point.
Totally.
I think.
But yeah, so I mean, when he was mixing records, to be brutally honest, I would just sit on the couch and smoke pot all night. But I would listen all night, and I'd be looking and seeing what he was using, and okay, he's got this channel strip, and he's cranking on this or whatever. And I think just by sitting back there and hearing what he was doing and why and what he was shooting for, and kind of seeing some of the tools and the routes, like, without him explaining anything, I learned a shitload from him.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, yeah, man. I mean, like, the other thing about that guy is that his sense of humor is insane. Like,
he's insane.
There's not many people that have the same sense of humor that guy does. But when you start, peeling off the layers of the onion with that guy, you start to really realize how freaking smart he is.
Totally. Yeah. I
Super
mean,
smart.
Right. Yeah. He gives you the, like, I'm just your bro kind of goofball thing, but he can also dig in and like run an SSL and knows how to do a lot of shit and knows how to carry a session. And, he, like I said, he came up under Tom Tucker, who was a real big shot in town here. He ended up teaching at a school in town. And that's how you met Fluff, right? You were going to IPR. And was he an instructor at that point, or no?
I took Fluff at, or so I heard, I don't remember what I heard. I think it was the Down and Above record.
Right. Sounds right.
And then I took Fluff out to no, it was Sneaker 2 Bombs. It was one of those two, because those were the two main like pop bands and pop rock bands in Minneapolis at that time.
Right.
But I took him out to coffee, Moose and Sadie's, and I was basically like, let me be your intern. I'll do whatever you want me to do.
Right.
And he was just like, sorry, I got a guy.
Smash.
And
Right.
Yep, Smaz.
Right.
And then I don't know how much time had passed, but it was a few months at least, maybe even a year had passed, and I was like getting to the point at IPR where I just felt like it was just going to like college to go to college. It
Pretty
wasn't
much
like
is.
I was learning much
right.
anymore.
IPR is perfect for kids who want to just go hang out and kind of do music and kind of be in school, and also it works for their parents who can be like, okay, well, they're in college. I'm paying a bunch of money. They must be learning.
Yeah.
But and I don't want to talk any shit about IPR, but
Nah, it's a great place. I don't know anything about it anymore.
I don't either.
just
I don't
know that
either.
when I was there, it was freaking cool. But
You can
but
learn
I
a lot
also
there.
Kind of reached a point where it was like, all right, I'm not doing anything.
and that's the thing.
And so,
man.
so I
That's-
ran into Fluff and was like, dude, or actually, he saw me and he was like, what's wrong? Like he's good at picking up on people.
Right.
He just came right up to me and was like, what's wrong, man? I was like, yeah, I just like kind of hate this place now. And he was like, all right, well, you can come to Master Mix tomorrow, but you're not allowed to leave once we start. Like if you walk in the door in the morning,
You're
you
here
gotta
till
stay
I
all day.
leave. Right.
And I was like, cool, I'll be there. And then I was there for the next like 14 days.
I thought you were going to
20
say
hours
3
straight.
years. Right. Right.
Yeah.
I was there for the next
And-
3 years.
Yeah, and then and it was during that project that Kirkwald, he had me come out into the live room, and we were working on the DigiDesign 888,
Sure.
and he asked me to record his background vocals, and I set up the C24. I'd never freaking held a tube microphone in my hands before, and I just like plugged it in. I had no freaking clue it was gonna
Sure.
work,
Yeah, right.
and plugged it in, and then just started recording. And then like by the end of that session, Kirkwall was like, "All right, we're gonna start the Quiet Drive record next week. If you're in, you
So
want,
that was your first
you can
thing
be a
with
part of it."
World Record Productions, was that first Quiet Drive record. First like full on thing. Right.
Yep. And then it was on, and it was like
Just working. Right.
that was like 100 hours a week, like
Right.
minimum,
Right.
like actually.
Yeah, I believe it. Yeah.
Yeah, like I know that number gets thrown out sometimes. Like, oh yeah, we were working 100 hours a week. Like, no, I was up at 9 a.m. and I was going to bed at like 4 or 5. every
Right.
day.
It's really true, man. For those who don't know, when you're really in it, you're typically working 6 days a week, and you're working 9 to 3, sometimes 9
Yep.
to 4. I mean, I remember a couple records me and Evan made where we would leave the studio, the sun would be up,
Yeah,
and we'd both be back at like 10 again. We'd be leaving at
Yep.
5 and back at 10.
yep.
A few days in a row.
Dude, that freaking Jeff Victor.
Oh yeah, the
That's
Jeff
the
Victor
perfect-
session. That's a perfect one, right?
Yeah. Yo, I'll be right back.
No problem.
Tell us the Jeff Victor session though.
Well, I mean, it's that same thing. It's like the working late thing, or working 5 to, or 9 to 3 or whatever. There was a couple times, like I remember once we were there, and there was a guy named Roger who would open the building for the booking agency side every morning. He'd come about 7. He got there about 6:45 or 7. Opens the door and he's like, "Holy shit, you guys are here already?" We're like, "Already?
Been here.
We're still here.
Yeah.
We're here from when you left last night. Like, we're still here." But yeah, so then this guy, Jeff Victor, who's absolutely great keyboard player in town, actually played with the Andrew WK band for quite a while. Just saw some old Andrew WK footage the other day on SNL, and Jeff Victor's up there playing an upright piano, head banging like crazy.
Yeah.
And another great friend of ours, Jimmy Koo, is playing guitar with a Hawaiian shirt on, a big beard and shit, and it's just awesome. But anyway, we did this thing with Jeff Victor. He's like, "Just a quick mix thing, guys." It was like some kind of like soundscape thing for Target or something or whatever. But we must have worked until 5 or 6 in the morning. And then Victor's like, "Awesome, we got it. Nailed it. I'm out of here." Cool. He split. I think we had like 2 or 3, like maybe some alternate prints we still had to do or something. So me and Evan still had another hour of work or something. And I don't know if it's, at this point, I don't know if it's 5 or 6 or 7 o'clock in the morning. We're almost done with whatever we're printing. And then Evan's phone rings and it's Victor. And he's like, "Hey, I just listened to a few things. We got a few more things we gotta tweak. What time can you guys be back at the studio? I'm like, oh man, we're still here. And he's like, perfect. I'm on my way back. And like, I mean, how long was that session, dude? Like, I don't even know.
Forever.
It was forever. It was a 24-hour session or something. Like,
It was yeah.
yeah, it was so
Victor
great.
was
Like,
Victor was. I don't know if you just said this, but he was on the couch just going, "Oh yeah."
yeah, he just everything we did. It was awesome. Or Evan would be like, hey, what if we push up a little reverb on this? And you'd hear, oh, it's like you put comet trails on it. Oh, he was just the best, dude. Victor is the best, man. But yeah,
he's like my of people I've ever worked with. He's still currently like in my top 5 without a doubt.
I remember whenever he finally did, because he left, he called, he came back. We worked for however many more hours. Then he left again. And even though me and you should have, and I'm sure we're just like so burnt after however long, I think we still sat around for like another hour, just like, dude, how cool is Jeff Victor? You know, like we were still like riding the high because he had that way of like, we were helping him mix or whatever. And he was just kind of there and overseeing, but like, no matter how many hours went by, no matter how much we were getting tired, he knew to say the right things to like lift us up, to keep us charged up. To you guys are killing this, man.
Sounds.
It was just sounds,
just
right?
Like noises. They weren't even. It wasn't even songs.
Yeah, it was like I think it was some ambient like relaxation record for Target or something. I don't remember what the hell it was.
Like wanted it to feel like you're in outer space and things are like bouncing off your helmet.
Right.
You almost gotta stay up and do a session
That
for
was
36
like that
hours
was the
to do
notes.
that.
Like I want it to be like you're floating through space and little things are boinging off your space helmet. And me and Bakke are like, cool, reverb and delay. Let's go. It was a great time, man. I absolutely loved hanging out with Jeff Victor, and Jeff has since contributed to a bunch of the music that we've worked on. Mainly an artist named Chuck Leah that Evan introduced me to, that I ended up getting to play drums on a couple of his albums now. We did one here in town when Evan was still here. There was a great little place in town that Evan had set up called Sounds Expensive, which was an awesome
Airstream.
Yeah, it was an awesome. It was a giant warehouse, and there was like this late '60s chrome Airstream for people who know what they look like. There's just a big bubble of chrome from the '60s, and Evan took that and like built the control room in the Airstream, and then the rest of the warehouse was the live room. And it was killer. We made a Chuck record there. You made a handful of records there. I spent a little time over there with you.
Yeah. Hold on.
Yeah.
Dunbar, I'm going to send you some pictures.
Yeah,
oh,
man,
yeah, some
do that.
Airstream pics. Yeah,
I'll throw 'em up.
Sounds Expensive was a great one. It was the Airstream was worked out totally cool. Sounded pretty cool in there too.
I love that.
And that's
What
when
were
we first heard those
studios
PMC speakers.
No, the EPOS.
EPOS Epics or whatever, right?
Epic 2s.
Epic
yeah.
2s. Those are phenomenal. I still want a pair of those. I've almost bought a pair of those a couple times.
Now.
I know. They were like not that expensive for a while, but
I think that Nate got them for like $200, and then I saw them for $450, and then
I did too.
passed on them, and now they're like
$1,500. Yeah, or something, right?
Oh yeah.
Those are killer. Parker has those.
Some pictures. You want to see the studio?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll fast forward. So blah
Okay.
blah.
Yeah, so
Evan ends
short
up
time.
in Connecticut, basically. I mean, we can fast forward through. You've made a lot of records here. At some point, you decided to head out east. I don't remember exactly why, or if you had a different job lined up. I know it wasn't for where you ended up.
No.
We could go through that a little bit and then show us where you landed.
Yeah. All right. So, well, yeah, I moved to like South America for a little while.
I forgot all about that. And made a record in Bolivia.
That was for 2 years.
I
man.
remember that.
Yeah.
And made some records in Bolivia. That's right.
Then I came back and I okay, yeah, so I moved down there after you and I were working together like heavily on that first Attention record,
Right.
or the second one really.
Sure.
Moved to South America and I actually moved into Che Guevara's old house where he would train his rebel like army.
Can't make it up, dude.
What the
Cannot
fuck, dude?
make that up. Yep.
Yeah, it was freaking great. There was like a retractable roof with a little yard in there, and like we built a studio. It took for freaking ever.
Yep.
Sounds actually the live room actually sounds awesome.
Yeah.
and so I lived there, and then eventually moved back to. I was in Massachusetts for a little while, and then I just started fly fishing.
Right.
And didn't do anything.
Right.
And then moved to Nashville, and I tried to work in Nashville. I was there for like 6 months. Jason Miller got me my only gig.
Right. He was down there at the time, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
I would hang with Jason like, I think I probably hung with him like once a month or so. That guy's cool. I like Jason a lot.
Nice.
And he was doing live sound at Wild Wings, not Buffalo Wild Wings, just Wild Wings.
Let's make sure everyone knows, right?
Yeah, and he got me a live sound gig there for one night.
Yep.
And it was like one dude, an acoustic guitar, standing on the stage by himself with like 7 people eating wings, and I had like 3 faders.
Yeah.
Vocal, acoustic, reverb.
Right. Yep.
And after the guy got done, I was like, "Hey man, good work up there." And he goes, "I freaking hate this place," and walked out.
You're like, dude, you're not going to take your 12 free wings before you get out of here? I'll take them if you don't want them. Right.
Yeah. And then when I was in Nashville, there's the Airstream.
Oh yeah, pop the Airstream.
I'm getting it up right now. I just lost it.
We had it and then we lost it. But anyway, you can keep.
When I was in Nashville, you called me and you were like, "Yo, I really want to do the next Attention record." And then I came back up and we did that for a little while.
And that was Through the Wire, not the last one. Or was that the last one? Tattered Youth. Must have been Through the Wire.
Yeah, it was the last one.
Was it?
Wait, when was Tattered Youth? What year?
So I was around for Tattered Youth, so that had to be like 2012 or 13.
Yeah.
That one?
Yeah, so
that's post
it was
Nashville.
Tattered Youth.
Okay.
That was 12. Through the Wire was 2010.
Right. So I lured you back, and I did say earlier, like that was technically an Attention record, but it was essentially me and you and a little bit of help from Malmberg along the way. We kind of made that record just the two of us. Like I played the drums, I played most of the guitars. We had our buddy Ian Allison, who's a monster bass player in town.
I still feel like we should remix that record.
I'm down. Yeah, we talked about it. We didn't do the thing that you kind of should do, which is usually when you get done tracking, it's smart to take a little time off and kind of get away.
Yeah,
from it.
That record's really good, and we didn't get the mixes right.
Yeah, we didn't take time off. We just went right into mixing, and it kind of stayed like it was. Yeah, maybe one day we will.
I think because there was really no plan for what was going to go on after that.
Yeah, that too. And we were riding high.
There was no dough, no money, nothing.
Exactly.
Kinda
We
like,
probably still owe you money for that record.
The fans are asking for it, so.
Yeah, and then I was in Minnesota for a while. Ended up working for freaking Prince for a minute.
Yeah.
And
that's a great story, right? I ended up at Paisley Park for a year or
then
something.
I got married.
Right.
And we moved to Connecticut so my wife could finish medical school out here.
Right.
And we were planning on being here for like 2.5 years, and so she could finish up. I built like a really small mixing room.
Right.
That I listen to those records. I kind of like how that I can look back on like different seasons of places that I worked in and think about like what I like about each place.
Right.
And I think I was like pretty zoned in on that spot. And then I met this guy who ran this place, and I haven't left the studio since the first day I walked in.
Why would you? Unless they kick you out of there, right?
Before
I'll be here until they kick me out.
Right.
Before we walk around, I got the pics of the Airstream up here.
All right. So before Evan went out, there it is. So this is a place called Sounds Expensive.
Yeah. So you walk in the Airstream door, and then to the right there was like a little lounge.
Right.
And then to the left is the other end.
Right.
And that's what you're seeing on that picture.
So this picture is kind of like
you're on the couch.
You're on the couch looking
on the
for
couch.
it.
Right.
Yep,
Shooting down the line.
NS10s.
Tat, I actually took that picture, and that's harder editing.
What's that?
That's that kid Carter.
Oh, that's
He's
Carter?
had- I took that picture. Yeah.
That's right. I remember Carter came around for just a little bit around then. That's right.
Yeah.
Let's if you want to walk us around that place. I mean, I see some gear behind your head.
Right. So yeah. So then
already.
Evan ended up out in Connecticut at a place called the Power Station, New England, which is
We should have started this.
where he is now. So he's going to walk us around. This is one of the, literally, it's one of the finest studios in the world, bar none. It's an exact replica of the Power Station in New York, and there you go.
Here's the console.
Yeah, a couple good records made on that console. A couple notable ones. You want to mention any?
I mean, it was at Pachyderm for a long time, so it did In Utero by Nirvana. I'm sure there's a bunch of people in Minnesota that have done a ton of stuff on this.
I'm told that was the Back in Black console, correct?
Yeah, I mean, I can't like actually confirm that because I hear so many different stories about this console.
But I've heard from a few different places. I'm going to just go ahead and believe that is indeed the Back in Black AC/DC console.
I've heard it enough times that I just believe it. But
Me
I've
too.
also heard that
It's not.
it's not. But
Right.
regardless of like
Doesn't matter.
Stones,
Right. The good news is it doesn't matter because it literally is probably the finest vintage recording console money can buy.
It's one of them.
It
It's
is one of them. It is kind of the Neve that everybody that's into this thing, lusts after, and it's completely redone.
And these are my favorite things we got. These PMCs. These things are amazing.
Giant PMCs. Those things sound absolutely incredible. I was floored. I've been lucky enough to spend, I've been out there 3 or 4 different times working with Evan on projects, and those are unbelievable.
Yeah. I love those. Those are my favorite speakers now.
Yep.
I barely listen to S10s anymore. And here's the back.
Right. So the back wall houses all the outboard gear, which basically,
76 is in there.
yeah, all the stuff that you would want to think of is in there.
The curve bender.
Right. Real Chandler's curve bender.
Or Vermona spring verb on top of it, which is cool.
Yep.
And
curve bender is insane.
The 480 and some
8191.
And
the Blue Stripe 1176, that's kind of a holy grail unobtainium compressor at this point.
Yeah, this is an old guy too.
Right, that's the real one.
But this one's probably I don't know. There's something a little special.
That's
about
your
this
guy.
one.
That's your favorite one. Yep.
Yeah.
Real LA2A, not a reissue.
Yep. And then a couple LA3As. They sound great.
Yep. Zoom in on the
PBXs.
Power Station custom logo on those LA3As. You can't really argue with that. Thank you. Yeah. Yep.
The retro
Stay
stuff
level.
is freaking great.
33609, GML, distressors. I mean, literally, there's all the pull text you could ask for.
Yeah.
It's just all there. Giant Pro
And
Tools rig.
Some floating gear.
Right.
This stuff's all good too.
Right.
All cool.
There's a whole second mix room that's in another building that Evan won't get to tonight that has just as much or more outboard gear.
Here, I'll walk you through. So you come out of the control room and into this. This is a vocal booth. Great vocal booth.
Yep, big
Really
booth.
cool. Yeah. And then behind you
Small
is
booth.
another vocal booth, which is currently housing our flip top.
Yep.
Which sounds great. This is the view from this room. And then you walk into this vocal booth, which is the larger of the two tight vocal rooms. And then this is typically what the lead vocalist sees out his window or her window.
And that's out into the main live tracking room, which is
main
definitely
room.
the most gorgeous tracking room I've ever been lucky enough to play in. The ceiling design is unbelievable in there. It's called the coffin up top because it's kind of shaped like a coffin. Yep.
Coffin. Yep.
Yep. Not a parallel surface to be found in there, right?
What's that?
There's not one parallel surface in that room, I believe.
No.
Nope.
There was this guy. This guy came in. And he was like, man, are you sure these aren't parallel, man? Those look really parallel. And he's like, looking at all the lats.
Oh, like the slats themselves? You're like, they're parallel with themselves, right? But right.
Yeah. Anyways, so this is the current drum setup.
Right. And it's always hard to tell on these videos, but this is a very large live room.
Yeah, it looks huge.
Yeah, it's big.
Yeah.
Yep.
Is it open into the other rooms next to it?
Well, there's
Yeah,
two
so
more large
then there's
booths here,
this,
right?
This room over here, which is a little tight. This room sounds awesome too. It's like,
Right.
I know you can't tell, but this ceiling's just as cool as the big one.
Right.
Um,
And those two rooms have
super
like kind
cool.
of sliding glass walls essentially where you can close that entire wall or open that entire wall if you want to.
Yeah, so you
Yep.
can the whole idea is you can have like 3 separate large rooms or 2 huge rooms or 1
Right.
huge room.
Right.
And,
All of those doors are on tracks and they all just kind of tuck in and go away if they need to.
Yeah, and then this is like the vaulted ceiling room, string room. Yeah, so this door is literally on tracks and,
and-
you just
And all of them move. Right.
Right.
shut it.
So you can close it, you can open it. Yeah, it's really
Yeah.
really unbelievable. Right.
And
That's-
then this is back like, let me see if I can get way back here or not.
The
I don't know
laptop,
if you guys can really
the
tell.
laptop
how-
tour is working out cool, man.
yeah, it looks good.
All right, cool. Yeah, so this is going back towards the
Right. You're kind of coming out of the, what's typically the piano room.
right. That's the control room,
Right.
and then I got this duo coming in that are they're super cool. It's just drums and bass, but they do a bunch of wild stuff while they're doing it.
Right. Another favorite part of mine of that control room, which I actually helped contribute to, is keep going to your right until you hit that couch. Oh, we might have, yeah. He's got a little Wi-Fi lag, but
walking around.
so while we're waiting for him to come back, one of the best parts about having a giant live room is
Well-
there we go. There it is. And I was out there. I remember me and Evan going, this live room is so big. Why don't we just put a lounge in here? Like, why go out to a lounge? So I believe I helped move some of that stuff, and it's been there ever since. We kind of put a lounge in the live room, and it's awesome, you know? We've spent a lot of time on those couches. John Conti made us laugh real hard on those couches many times.
I mean, there's no better Keith Richards impression in the world.
No, the dude walks in and he's got the scarf and the hat and the cigarette, and he's like, he is Keith Richards. It's kind of scary.
Yeah.
Right, and then back into the control room.
I can show you the lounge too. I mean, it's nothing special.
Oh yeah. You want to show us the mic locker?
Actually, I got a new addition to the lounge.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
What'd
So,
you do?
I don't know if you remember this one, but I moved this guy over here.
Oh yeah, I don't think he was there before. Looking good.
Yeah.
Looking Keith.
Yeah, wearing their figure skater outfits.
Of course, right.
Yeah. And then
That's the Blades of Glory. Oh hey, there you go.
just judging everyone.
Yeah, the purple one. I'm better than
Yep.
you at whatever you're doing.
Yeah, and then here we got this one on the wall.
Picture
now.
of the ceiling. That's cool.
It's funny, man. The picture of the ceiling looks better than the actual ceiling,
It's
just
so-
because of the laptop camera thing.
Everyone that goes there takes pictures and tries to take video, and you cannot appreciate the ceiling unless you're in that room. It's just, it's
Yeah.
really something else. But
Yeah.
yeah, unbelievable studio. All the toys, all the microphones, all the outboard gear, literally
Lounge.
anything you could need is there. And you've got Evan there, which means you've got a great engineer there. I tell people all the time, if you're anywhere near the East Coast, a lot of people are not hip to the fact that that studio is there, and it's unbelievable. And it's affordable because Evan wants to work with cool bands. So I don't know. I say it every time, and I'll say it again. Like, if you're out that way, or if you're a music maker, producer, engineer, band guy, whatever, like, check out the Power Station because you won't find a better room out there.
No,
You just
this is
won't.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Really is amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what have you been working on recently? What do you think? Should we talk? I did have Evan send over a couple tracks that he's worked on, maybe 1 or 2 things that we actually got to work on together. But should we? You want to play a tune for the people? You got a preference? What are you thinking?
Sure. Yeah.
Which-
You want to play something you did?
I don't know. It's up to you, man. It's totally up to you.
I don't know what these are.
Let's play
so
the
you
Chuck
guys gotta
tune.
Tell me
so the
which
Chuck
what.
tune is called Eugene, I believe.
That doesn't help me.
Is that not in
I don't think so. Those are what we got.
Memphis is a Chuck tune you sent, right?
Memphis is a Chuck tune. Yep.
Chuck's in the house.
Oh, Chuck's watching.
Yeah.
Chuck,
Chuck's watching. What's up, Chuck?
we're gonna play your tune if that's cool with you. So tell everybody about Chuck a little bit, Evan.
All right. Chuck was born in 1770.
Right. Me and Evan had this conversation once. We're like, I can't tell if Chuck is like 40 or like 4,000 years old.
Probably both.
He's right in between.
Right.
He's older than any furniture you guys own.
I mean, he's got songs and stories like he's 4,000 years old, but
I
he's
know.
not. He's just an old soul, man. It's amazing.
Yeah. And Chuck moved to Minnesota, and he got a job at Guitar Center just so he could meet people.
Right. I remember that.
And
Yeah. Didn't need money.
Engel-
Just wanted to meet musicians and hang out and get on the scene.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. he like people always talk about Engel being the guy to go to for a good deal, but Chuck was the real guy to go to for a good deal.
Oh, it's Brett.
And Engel called me one day and was like, "You gotta meet my friend Chuck." So I went to Guitar Center, and I think I played him one of the songs you and I were working on at that time. I don't know what it was.
Sure.
And then he came down to Pound Sound like later that afternoon.
Right.
And I mean, like I'm just getting like flooded with Chuck stories because there's
Great. Yeah. Dude, he's a one of a kind, man.
He said he loves you guys.
Yeah.
Chuck's in the chat tonight.
Yeah, I love that,
Hit him
Chuck.
up.
I love that Chuck's in the chat. And so
Yeah.
Chuck Leah.
Chuck and I ended up making a record at the Airstream. He had like 15 songs, and he
Right.
wanted to do them. And so we started at Pound Sound, and then at some point, I don't know how, I ended up at the Airstream,
Right.
and we didn't do it at Pound Sound.
Right.
And you came in, you played drums in that massive warehouse room.
Yeah.
And then when I moved out here, like Chuck and I talked about it for like 5 years that we wanted to do another record.
Right.
And then all of a sudden he called me and he was like, "Hey man, yeah, can we start like next week?"
I know. Right.
And I
This
was
is
like,
when the
"Probably
pandemic
not
was
next
going
week,
down,
man."
too.
It's like,
This is
What's
like
that?
fresh in the pandemic times. Like,
this was in like April of
yeah,
last
right.
year.
Right.
This, like, the studio was like trying to figure out how to function. But all of a sudden it was like you were here, and
Yeah, I flew out. I did the first and only time I've flown during this pandemic and did the whole mask thing and the whole deal. But yeah, I got to come
you
out.
were here for like what, a week?
I think I was
at
there
least
for
a
a
week.
week. Yep.
Yeah.
And played
So we
drums
did
for a week.
drums. Chuck didn't really like he had all the songs, but it wasn't like a crystal clear picture of what these songs were going to be like yet. Victor was doing some work on all the tunes.
He was working from home.
Uh,
Right.
My friend Sam was doing some background vocals and strings. And I'd done a record with this young guy, Sam Nitch, who's super cool. I also sent you
Yeah,
one
we'll
of his
check out a
songs.
Sam track too, right?
And then I mean, Chuck's been one of my closest friends, like literally since the day I met him. I don't know why, but we met. And we
He
were
just
just
has
close
that
friends.
thing, right? I don't know him nearly as well as you, but it's that same thing, right? Like once you get to know Chuck, he just feels like an old friend, kind of, you know.
Yep.
Let's
I was talking to him at some point, and he was like, when he was here, we were eating oysters and like lobster every day for lunch.
Chuck treated us really, really well on that record, right?
Oh, yeah.
We should say it to everyone and
And
to
it's
Chuck.
not like
Right.
we were getting like 4 or 5 oysters. We were getting like 40 oysters.
Yeah.
Oh,
Chuck definitely wanted everyone happy and comfortable, and made sure that happened, which is pretty rare these days, man.
It happened. Yep.
It happened.
And so I was talking to Chuck. I don't know. I don't remember when I was talking to him. And he was like, I told him, I was like, "Man, I really want some oysters right now." And he was like, "Yeah, man, me too." And then for some reason he goes, "Tap doesn't like oysters, does he?"
I
And I
don't.
was like,
Nope.
I was like, I don't know. And he goes, I think that's the only thing I don't like about Tat.
I don't like oysters, dude. No, not my thing, man. That's like some East Coast stuff. I don't know. But yeah, so people should definitely. That record came out somewhat recently. It's called Chuck Leah and His Band of Ghosts, I believe, right?
Chuck, drop a link in the chat, man. Let the people know where to find it.
We'll get a link in there, but yeah, man, I had a great. We call it the Band of Ghosts because it was kind of because of the pandemic, because of the scheduling, because like Evan said, there wasn't necessarily a real hard plan. It was like Chuck had tunes, a lot of tunes, had an abundance of tunes. You know, we'd be working on one and like we'd take a 5-minute break and Evan be like, hey, play Utero that other one. Like they just don't stop with the guy.
And he was just like constantly writing while he was here too.
And more tunes coming while you're working, right? So, but yeah, it was interesting because we never really got the band together. Like I got there. Well, Chuck got there first. You guys worked together a little bit. I was the kind of first guy on the scene. Here's what we're going to do. We'd like you to play on these, whatever. I ended up playing on however many, 9 or 10 songs. Then I flew out. I think the day I flew out, Sam flew in. So it was like a lot of stuff happening, but not all at the same time. Like there wasn't a whole band playing in the room. I was just playing with Chuck. And then Sam came in and was playing with now me and Chuck. And then Chuck was putting overdubs on. And Jeff Victor is pumping in emails every couple days to Bakke with here's new keys and strings and whatever for this tune and that tune. And it just kind of assembled itself. And me and Bakke kind of talked about it at one point. We're like, it's weird, man. Like we're making a record, but it doesn't really feel like we're working. But it's just happening. And that's kind of Chuck's whole vibe.
Doing much work.
Never felt like we worked. And I think as soon as it felt like we were starting to work, Chuck would be like, hey, boys, let's slow down and go get a nice sandwich or something and something to drink. Exactly. You know, like he just was like, let's just relax, you know. I mean, yeah, just Chuck's a one-of-a-kind dude. He's a great songwriter, super unique voice.
Brad just dropped a link in.
Oh, cool. Brad just put a link in for those who are interested. Check out Chuck's record because, yeah, man, he's a great songwriter and he's
it kind of reminds me of like if like John Prine and Dolly Parton's baby had a baby with like.
Can't wait to see where this is going.
Waylon Jennings.
Yeah.
And
Butch Walker.
Some Civil War widow.
Right. And maybe just there's like a little bit of Tom Petty sprinkle in there
there's
at
a
times
little bit
too.
Of Tom Petty.
It's just that great American song thing. He just, I don't know, man. He hits it.
You guys, I remember when you went out there, you had sent me whatever you guys were working on. I don't know, and it was like, oh, this is really cool. And after hearing the finished product, it was like, I listen to Chuck songs now.
Yeah, I showed it to Joe, and Joe's just like, dude, I'd buy this. Like, this is like right up my alley. And I joke about it all the time, like. I don't know why Chuck chooses me to play drums on his record. Like, I feel like I'm kind of just a dumb meathead rock drummer, and his shit's way more advanced than that. But somehow it works out, you know. I think he likes my dumb meathead playing. Somehow he likes the anchor point. But so you sent a tune over called Memphis, right?
Yeah, that's
and
the one.
It's on this new record by Chuck. And
hold on, ask Chuck what he wants to listen to.
Oh, we could do that. Chuck, yeah, do you have a Chuck, if you're still watching, man, do you have a preference as to which tune we play off your new record? Or do you want us to not play one?
Too late, bro.
We probably should have asked you first.
Nah.
Is he gone?
It's easier to
play
just
Memphis.
do it.
I don't know.
I'll let Memphis roll.
Yeah, we got Memphis.
The crowd, the fans will see us, but they won't hear us.
Yeah, right. We don't have a Pro Tool session tonight, so you're just going to hear this.
Chuck says Memphis is a good one.
Okay. So, so...
Oh, the screensaver was a nice visual.
Oh, did you like that?
That's all right.
Sorry,
We're just going to let this thing roll. You guys will see us, but you'll hear Chuck's song.
Right.
Bakke, you won't hear it, so don't worry.
Recorded at Power Station, produced and mixed by Bakke. I played some drums. Chuck wrote and sang a great tune. It's called Memphis. Check it out.
She likes those neon lights to get her haggard on. Could be the atmosphere, the taste of beer, too much going on. By the time I get
Sounds like
Yeah,
Joe's
it's weird,
saying
man.
we're having some difficulties. What
It's
kind of
coming through
difficulties?
choppy. I don't know why.
The track is coming through choppy?
Yeah, like off of here. Yeah, we got you, Brandy. We'll hit the link. I can't really troubleshoot it in show. Heartbreaking.
Shit.
Bummer.
Is it not going to work?
I mean,
Is there another way we could do it?
you
Could
could
we,
import it into Pro Tools.
we could do it that way. Let's do it that way.
Yeah.
I need it. I don't have it.
Let's do it.
We're
Let
going
the
to
people
play
sound
this
it.
tune. There's something weird. We've been having... so we went out to a different studio. Oh, let me turn Evan back on. Sorry, I had you off.
I don't know what I have to do.
I got you.
Too much going on. All right, so we got Evan back. Something's going on. We've had some weird computer tweak stuff today. I know I can play you Chuck's tune out of Pro Tools here. I just need to get Joe to zing it over to me. How are you going to send it to me?
I'll email it to you, I guess. Or should I drop off? Yeah. Let me get it to you.
Whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
Email?
Yeah, it's one tune, so.
Yeah, sorry about this, folks. It's taking a minute. For some reason, I don't know, our streaming computer, we had all kinds of weird, fun stuff. We had to change a camera cable today because all of a sudden it was acting funny, and now for whatever reason we're having a hard time playing tracks out of there, which makes no sense at all, but we are going to, we're just going to have it sent over to me, and then I'll play it. And again, sorry for that, but... yeah, you know, what else? What else can we tell the peeps about things while we're getting this song emailed over? Bakke, what's next?
I don't know. How's Michael doing?
Michael Bland, he's doing great. I haven't seen him in a little while, but he's doing good, man. He's just doing his thing, hanging out, being a
Nice.
great dude. He just was a guest on Paul Peterson's podcast, Music on the Run. I posted a link today on my Facebook for that, but if anyone
I
else
love
didn't,
Paul.
yeah, Paul's great. Michael's great. They have great conversations for sure. So
Yeah.
that's worth checking out. He's doing good, man. Actually, this is a good thing to bring up while we're waiting here too. Is so Michael and his good buddy Dan Spiffy Newman have had for the last while. It's been gone for a little while now, but they have a podcast called Musipolitics. That is usually on Tuesday nights. Is that what you sent?
No, but I didn't realize Evan had
Oh, it's in there too. I got you. So Musipolitics kind of went away for a while, but they are going to do kind of I guess a special episode, or they haven't done an episode in a while. They are going to do an episode next Tuesday. I wonder if it's because it's 44.1. Clocking?
Possibly.
Maybe? Doesn't matter. Sorry. But yeah, so so I'm gonna losing my train of thought because there's just a lot going on. Musipolitics is gonna do a special episode next Tuesday. This was brought to my attention by one of our excellent fans of both shows, Miss Diane. And I think the best thing to do, and I haven't talked to Joe or Brad about this, but I think we're just gonna take next Tuesday off.
I think it's a good idea.
Because it's not really fair to, we do have, thank you guys, we do have a handful of folks that really would want to watch both shows and would really be torn as to which one to watch. I mean, frankly, bottom line, those guys' stream was first. So I think that they should take precedence. We're going to take a week off. We're going to watch Musipolitics. You should too. So don't expect us next week for that reason, but please do go watch Michael and Dan over at their
You know
channel.
what you should do, Tap? You should get you should go to Creation or something like that with
Already talking about it. Yep.
with everybody.
I want to do it. I definitely want to do it. I got to talk to Fields about it. Fields has watched the show a handful of times. I haven't asked him yet. Kind of waiting for Corona to blow over so I can start,
You should tell Fields I say hi.
I will.
And
But we are going to do that. We want to get to Creation. Actually, Joe has a friend who's now working in one of the upstairs spots at Creation, one of the little production rooms as well.
Who?
What's her name? Elsa?
Elsa, yeah.
She's part of
Nice.
F5.
F5 Soundhouse, yep.
F5 was a different spot in town. I don't know if they lost their spot or whatever. They ended up migrating into one of the upstairs rooms. They're up there, and Snowman is up there. I forget, there might be one other person up there as well. But But yeah,
Yeah.
you're totally right. I want to get over there because that's a great studio.
Oh yeah.
We just did start shooting last night. We'll talk more about it. I can't say too much about it now because, we got secrets around
I
here.
did post one little picture, a
That's
little
all right.
teaser
Yep.
too.
But we did start shooting over at Flowers a little bit last night for another thing that we're going to do. So our goal is definitely I would love to showcase some more studios around town and more, more dudes that make music around town. So that's going to happen. And yeah, creation
You
is
should
definitely
get,
on
like,
the list.
Kirkwald over there.
Kirkwald would be a
Levy.
great one. Yeah. I don't know Kirkwald super well, but I know him enough. I'm sure he would come on the show. That would actually be really interesting because I don't really know him very well. He doesn't really know me very well. So it'd actually be it'd be a new conversation. You know what I mean?
That surprises me for some reason. I
We
feel
just
like
never-
I feel like there was a little while where I tried to get you guys hooked up, and I don't think it
Yeah,
actually
we just
happened.
never. I mean, we have crossed paths, and like Malmberg actually put us in the same room once and kind of talked about a thing, and we just, I don't know. Like, when I met you and Fluff, I talked to Kirkwald the first day, but Kirkwald wasn't really mixing on that record, so he just kind of came and he checked out the first day, made sure we were all happy as the band because he was part of the company, and then he was kind of like, cool.
Yeah.
So Harley and Evan got you from here. Like, if there's any issues or whatever, let me know. But
Right.
I
Yep.
didn't really get to I didn't get to know him the way I got to know you two guys at all.
Yes. Yeah.
But so I got this Chuck tune loaded up. Sorry for the stall out on that. I don't know why our other computer's giving us hell tonight, but we're finally going to get to it. Chuck Leah and his Band of Ghosts. Find it online. Go to his website. Check out the link. I'm pretty sure we got one in the chat somewhere. Chuck's in the chat. Say hi to Chuck. He's a sweetheart. Here's his tune. It's called Memphis. Check it out.
She likes to roam away from home. When the money's tight, she needs those neon lights to get her haggard on. Could be the atmosphere, the taste of beer, too much going on. By the time I get to Memphis, she'll be gone. She'll be out of here so far, out of here. Her thumb is in the breeze. She's a bride of Nashville, yeah, that's Nashville, Tennessee. She stole my car, hawked my guitar, and then she wrote a song. By the time I get to Memphis, she'll be gone. Come Sunday morning, oh, praise Jesus. And when the preacher's gone, she puts records on, shakes it to Bocephus. I've got these 18 wheels and knives of steel would never do her wrong. By the time I get to Memphis, she'll be gone. She'll be out of here, so far out of here. Her thumb is in the breeze. She's a pride in Nashville, yeah, that's Nashville, Tennessee. She stole my car, hawked my guitar, and then she wrote a song. By the time I get to Memphis, she'll be gone. When that wild turkey calls her name, they got blue eyes crying in the rain, and she'll cry all night long, 'cause that's her favorite song. By the time I get to Memphis, she'll be halfway to Texas. By the time I get to Memphis, she'll be gone. By the time I get to Memphis, she'll be gone. I get to Memphis, she'll be gone. By the time I get to Memphis, she'll be gone.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Chuck tune.
I mean that the outro of that song is a good it does a really good job of explaining Chuck, because it goes from like being this like peppy like bar room sing along to like kind of depressing to like bluesy to him giggling to finish it off.
Right.
Like there's no rules with Chuck
No, there isn't.
whatsoever.
Right. Other than we're gonna have a good lunch and good dinner. Damn it. Right. That's
That's
about it. Right. Other than that, we'll see what happens. Right. Yeah, great tune, man. It's fun. It's fun for me. Chuck's stuff is like very different than pretty much any other. You know, I don't know. I like many. I mean, I like to work on anything and everything I can find, but you end up kind of getting your niche, or not necessarily pigeonholed, but like I'm known as a rock guy, and especially as a drummer, like I think kind of like most people like would think about hiring me for a gig that required like Dave Grohl style drums or something. Not Chuck style drums, but somehow me and Chuck work out. It's pretty cool. It's cool how that that happens, man. I'm looking forward to making another one with that guy as soon as he's ready. And I know he's probably already got about 40 new songs written, I'm sure, at least. So
he actually like 2 days ago just sent me all the song titles for his new record.
Oh, there you go.
Just the song titles.
Just the song titles.
Nice.
That's all you need.
Yeah, what else?
You got to start somewhere. Oh, by the way, Kirkwald is in the chat, I was told. I don't monitor the chat. I want to just say this because we were talking about this.
I was just texting with Kirkwald.
Oh, yeah. He was apologizing
a
for
session,
not calling
he
you
said,
back
yeah.
or something. I was just, while the song was playing, I was talking to these guys, and I guess I want to tell this stream too. People that watch often may know this, but like, when we're doing the stream, I don't look at the chat. So unless like something pops up that Joe tells me about, or maybe while we're playing a song, I pop back to his computer. Like, I don't really follow the chat, because in order for me to kind of talk to Evan and talk on this mic and kind of make it hopefully feel like the show isn't just like stopping all the time. I don't know if I'd be able to do it and like keep an eye on the chat and kind of keep the conversation going and blah, blah, blah. So anyone that is commenting or asking questions that I may not necessarily get to, like, don't feel ignored or bummed or whatever. Like, I probably just didn't see it. I go back and watch them, and I'm always like, God, I wish I could have seen that like when it happened, but it's just a lot. I'm not a good multitasker.
Kirkwald's done a bunch of records on this console. By
Sure.
the way.
When it was at Pachyderm, right? So Pachyderm is a beautiful spot here in Cannon Falls, Minnesota, which is not too far from Minneapolis. That is owned by now the estate of a guy named John Cooker, who is a great, great guy from here, who had a studio called Seedy Underbelly in Minneapolis for a long time. He then bought Jeff Porcaro's old house in Los Angeles and put a small studio in there with an API console and blah, blah, blah. And that was called Seedy Underbelly LA, where Attention got to record. That record that we made is indeed the same EP. That's the EP where I met you and Fluff and Kirkwald. That's the one that you guys mixed. So kind of a huge circle of
Kirkwald says he's going back to Pachyderm this week.
Beautiful. Right. So yeah, John Cooker, just a total sweetheart of a guy. Amazing collection of gear and instruments, and I mean, just, really not a nicer guy out there. Sadly, passed away really unexpectedly of a heart attack as a young dude. Just a total bummer. But it's awesome that there's a guy named Nick Tveitbeck, I think that's how you say it, who's been with John for a long time. The family wanted to keep Pachyderm going. Pachyderm required a lot of money and rehab and stuff. The building over the years had gotten pretty run down from what I understand. They've got it tip top. It's absolutely beautiful out there. Nick's out there. It's an incredible studio. And yeah, and that console lived in there for quite a while. Now I believe there's a big API in there. There's been a few different things in there, but I think it's an API again now. But nice guy, great studio. Oh, and then Dave Jarnstrom was also in the chat, and he reminded me, It is true. I did spend a little bit of time with Kirkwald. There was that one song that I'm sure you worked on one of the Attention records called Embers. Kind of a long, kind of a real U2-y kind of vibe. And we really, when we were writing that song and kind of doing pre-production on that song, rehearsing it, we really struggled with, I don't know, we thought it was going to be a really important song on the record, and we were having a hard time. It was so simple, but we wanted it to be really big. So, we did pre-production with a few different people on different nights. Like we had Harley come down one night and do pre-pro. Then we practiced for a while, and we actually had Kirkwald come down and do pre-pro on just that song. And now when Dave said it, I totally remember it, and totally remember him suggesting like things to Dave about, let's back the hi-hat off to quarter notes here and then build it up to eighth notes here. And just, he came in cold, not really knowing.
Had Pounce on?
At our old rehearsal space. He just came to rehearsal one night. I guess Malmberg probably called him and set it up, and he came in and just did a full-on pre-production night for us and gave us all his ideas,
Yep.
Super talented dude. I should get to know him more. Like I said, I've crossed paths with him a little bit, but we don't know each other super well. But thanks for watching tonight.
Kirkwald's like, he's the man. He's the best.
That's what I hear. I know he's a shredder of a guitar player. I just saw the video that him and Billy and Ian and a keyboard player whose name I cannot remember just put out of them just progging out, dude. And
he's definitely got those chops.
Yeah, they're no joke.
Like, I always think about like Michael's comment, if you're not now, then you never were.
Yeah.
Like all these guys still are.
That's it. And sometimes that's me and Evan. It's funny. Me and Evan have this conversation quite a bit, frankly. Like, what's the best way to get your career to the place that you want it to go? Don't stop. That's the number one best way. Do not stop working on it. You know what I mean? Like, we talk about it all the time. Like, hey, man, one day Evan's going to be 60 and I'm going to be 70, and hopefully we're the Andy Wallaces and the dudes who are that age now who have been making records the whole time, and the way you get good at this stuff is you just keep doing it, and it's like an instrument. It's like anything. Like people talk about 10,000 hours. 10,000 hours kind of gets you to the plate, but you still got to swing the bat after that. Like that 10,000 hours isn't a home run. You're just you're in the building, what I mean? But you still got, I don't know. Me and Evan talk about it often. It really is a lifelong path, and the key is to, want to
I
get
just think
better.
about I think about the glorified way of looking at the music industry are like kind of people like Phineas and Billie Eilish, which they're obviously extremely talented at anything that they do, but that's like one in like a freaking trillion.
That's a lightning strike, right? That they were able to make something like that.
That's a lightning strike at the same place like 50 times in a row,
right?
And the rest of us, we kind of have to just claw at every chance you get, and
so
you got to just like not stop. I mean, I can listen to a majority of the stuff that I've recorded and just never want to play it for anybody ever.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. It's funny. Yeah, I mean, some people do get lucky, and whatever, their first year making records, they get a fucking Grammy.
Yeah.
That can be a blessing and a curse though, because you might, your first year might be your best year, and there might just be all downhill from there. It's funny. Someone said something recently, like talking about kind of the same thing, and it was like, it's like, well, better late than never or whatever, and someone was saying something like, well, better late than too soon. Like,
yeah, right.
I don't know. I wouldn't have wanted to make my best record when I was 20 and now be in my 40s figuring out how to get back there. I like that it's been linear and slow, and I can feel, I'm sure you can too, most of us can, like you feel your progression, like feel like, okay, I'm getting better. I'm listening to something from 5 years ago or 10 years ago or whatever. And it is a battle. And another thing me and Evan talk about all the time is like, it's just not easy. Like yes, we're getting better every day, but that doesn't mean that they're all like, not, every record is, but like sometimes you hit something and you're like, wow, man, that one went really great. And then the next one, you're like, what the fuck happened there or whatever. Like, it's just, it's not, if it was as formulaic and as easy as just like, this is what I do and it works every time, then we'd all be Chris Lord Algae. We're not. So, so we got to figure it out, and it's important to not listen back to everything you've ever made and just go, man, this sounds great. Almost everything I listen to, I'm like, man, this sounds like shit, and I want to get better, and I want to get better, and like, I don't want that to go away, because as soon as I don't think it sounds like shit is probably going to be the day I stop trying to get better, like, right. And I think that the Andy Wallaces and the name your guy that are as many years down, basically everyone but CLA, I still think that they probably think their shit sounds bad too when they listen to it back. You know what I mean? I think CLA thinks everything he made is a platinum #1, but other than that, most of us are, just hope, we're just trying to do a good job. And while we're going to show you as much confidence as we need to while you're in the room or whatever, we might listen back to the record a week later or a year later and either go, man, awesome, I got pretty close on this one, or we might listen to it and go, God damn it, like, what happened? Like, it's just, you never know. You never know what you're gonna get, and it's just an interesting thing. I say it all the time, but I feel like it's the ultimate musical instrument in a lot of ways, because you kind of got to figure out how to play everything to mix a record and to make everything play together and sound like a uniform record, and then to be able to do that over and over and over again with different artists and different styles, and be able to flow with those styles. And like, I know another thing me and Evan talk about is like, as much as every producer or mixer ends up kind of developing a few signatures and sound things, I don't want all of my records to sound exactly the same. I don't want you to be able to, within 1 second of hearing it, be like, oh, produced by Tapero. Like, I mean, like, I was definitely going down that road for a long time, and we all do.
Now I just kind of like the simplest way that I've been able to kind of avoid that in general is I don't use any templates whatsoever.
I pretty much stopped,
no matter
too.
what.
Everything
starts from zero every single time now.
Right. My current template.
Every song, like right. Song to song. I don't import any data or anything like that. No template. None.
My current template is 6 faders wide, and it's just my master, my print, and my 4 like drums, bass, music, and vocal subgroups. They don't have any plugins on them. It's just the routing, so I don't have to do that.
Yeah.
That's it.
It's not really a template. It's just kind of like routing.
Right. It's just kind of like, okay, I know I want this couple masters. I know I need these subs. I'll figure out what's going to go on them. But that, I built it, I'm sure you have over the years too. I built a big, massive one, and here's my 6 reverbs and 6 delays and my pitch spreader and all this shit. And it ends up being a total pain in the balls, and it doesn't work ever. And it's just like, I don't know. I've even gotten to a point recently where like, I don't save, like if I dial up a reverb for a cool vocal or whatever, I don't name it and save it. Do you do that? Like, you know what I mean? If you pull up a whatever plugin and get a cool verb on a tune, do you like, okay, this is, EV reverb vocal plate 7 or whatever. Like, I don't save it. I don't want to re-pull it up. I want to re-pull up the plugin and just start turning knobs again and come up with a new reverb.
I start from scratch on everything. Every session.
That was another great thing I learned from Chris Testa, is like whether Jim asked for it or not, once we were signed off, because we mix Whole Gratitude record on the console, right? So as soon as that mix was signed off, like, okay, tomorrow we're going to start the next song. Chris would come in the morning, and he'd zero the console, and he'd zero every channel, and he'd start pulling, unless there were some main patches, he'd pull the patches. So Jim had to come in and go like, okay, kick drum. Like there was nothing left over from yesterday. He had to start over, and that was part of their workflow. That. Same thing. Like, I don't want to just pick up where I left off, or I'm just mix the next song with whatever moves me on the day.
Man.
And
Yep.
a lot of people, I think, get worried, like, well, if you do that, you're going to lose consistency and this and that. A, who gives a shit? And B, if it's the same guy mixing it, it's still going to be consistent. There will be consistency. It's it's these 2 ears or your 2 ears making the choices. So there's going to be some things that are similar because the whole thing about mixing records is it's all taste. You hear music and your taste goes.
I get so easily distracted by by convincing myself that it's not what I think I've got pretty much massive ADD going on all the time, no matter what happens.
Sure.
And so when I insert something like referencing someone else's music or taking a template and trying to get it to fit into something, then my mind, then I just I go on this very, very, very insecure, deep battle with myself on trying to figure out a way to get it to sound good.
Right.
Just to play it from top to bottom, to enjoy it. It would take me forever, and then once I'm at that place, I'm always second guessing how I even got there in the first place.
Totally.
So now what I do is I don't care what anyone else's music sounds like at all. I don't care anymore.
Right. I
used to care a lot.
Sure.
But I don't care at all. And all I do is start turning stuff up until it makes me feel really good. Like my buddy Scott Jacoby, he's an amazing producer. I've done a ton of records with him now. He's from Manhattan. He comes up here a lot. He's been up here at least a couple times a year.
Right.
And I don't remember what we were talking about, but basically he was like, the one thing that you should never change about yourself is your taste. And as soon as you start changing your taste because you think it should taste like someone else's
it's over
taste,
for you. No.
Then you don't even know what your taste is.
That's
anymore.
it. You have to develop your taste, and then best case scenario, people think your taste sounds awesome, and they go to you for your taste because only you can do that. You hear it the way you hear it. I hear it the way I hear it. Me and you and 10 other of our friends can mix the exact same set of files from a band, and you would have 10 different mixes guaranteed. There will be some similarities, but there will be some differences because people just hear music different. And, I probably have a lot more hearing damage than you do because I've been out on stage a lot longer, so my shit's going to be brighter than yours probably. You know what I mean? Whatever, who knows?
I just kind of think about all right, well, you remember Dave Matthews' big thing was the Lily White sessions for a little while.
I don't know a whole lot about
All
Dave
right,
Matthews.
I don't know anything about Dave Matthews at all. I just remember
nice
the
way to
Lily
back
White
out of that one.
sessions. Everybody was talking about the Lily White sessions.
Okay.
And I just think about Steve Lillywhite.
Oh, I know who Steve Lillywhite is. I didn't realize that's what you were talking about. Yep.
Yeah, I mean he's not the type of guy that's going to record Dave Matthews and make it sound like the Chris Lord-Alge version of Dave Matthews.
No.
And I kind of think about if I were to hire you to mix a song for me, the only thing I would want it to sound like is what you got to give it to me.
That is the goal, right? I mean, I think that's what we talk about. All we can do is develop us. You can develop you. I can develop me. As soon as we start trying to sound like another guy, what is that even for? If I'm going to spend all day trying to sound like CLA, then just fucking hire CLA. I mean, you probably can't afford them, which is why you're trying to get me to do it. But I don't know. I gave up on that long ago. And it's funny that you brought up the referencing other people's music. Some people really, really preach that, listen to other music while you're working and blah, blah, blah. I'm with you. I cannot. I'll get thrown all the way off whatever path I was on. I'll be starting to think that everything I've done is messed up and something's weird. And I only listen, I come into the studio in the morning or afternoon, whenever I'm going to start. I may listen to a couple tunes while I'm putting the studio together, getting shit ready to go or whatever. But as soon as I go into whatever I'm working on that day, I never go back and really reference anything. I can't, because I'll just like I said, it'll be a rabbit hole I'll never get out of. You know, like,
Totally
oh man,
freak me out.
why are there symbols like that? Why are my symbols not like that? Like, who cares? Because
Yep.
it's a different drum
Yep.
set and a different drummer and a different song and a different studio, and none of it
Yep.
matters. Just make it sound awesome. That's the job.
Yep.
Period.
Yep.
You know?
Yep. I don't
Well,
know.
man.
I just kinda,
I don't know. What do you think, dude? We're almost at that 10 o'clock mark. It goes by real quick, dude. Me and Evan have and do. We talk for hours. It's easy. It's easy for us
Yeah.
to
Pretty easy.
chop it
Yeah.
up. But should we, you want to play one more? You want to play one more track? Where was that? I thought it was in my downloads.
You would need to.
Sure.
You need to go to Safari and.
I would say close it out with the Pictures and Wallets song.
All right, I gotta pull it up and re-download it here. I guess so.
There's a song by
Which tune?
Sam Nitch.
Pictures
called
and Wallets.
Pictures and Wallets.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna
That's a
grab
Guy,
it. Here.
he's 21 years old, and he plays every instrument, sings every part except the drums on this album, and he's pretty freaking talented.
Nice. I'm downloading it to my computer right now since the streaming computer's being a little bit of a jerk tonight, and we're gonna bring it into Pro Tools right here.
I can flip over. Let to see if people see.
Have not met Sam yet. I want to meet him though, man.
Kirkwald's into him.
Kirkwald's into Sam.
Says Sam is the shit.
There you go.
Sam's great.
And Kirkwald would know.
He should be in downloads.
Pictures and Wallets. Uh-oh.
Still downloading, my friend.
Is it? No
Probably.
way.
Go.
No.
Go back to Safari.
I just didn't download it right.
Oh, all right. You want me to click the little checkbox next to the tune?
Brad, I met you before I met Tapero, I think, right?
Where is it?
I'm trying to remember. It might have been through Fluff. I can't remember exactly.
I
Was
wonder
it
if
a hot
you
topic?
you might have met Brad
That's where I was.
before
I
me,
think-
but I don't know.
I think I at least I think I knew who Brad was at least. I think I'd met you before Tapero for sure. I don't know why.
I don't think we really knew each other until,
Yeah,
things were
no, I
kind
don't
of
think we
happening
knew
at
each other.
Pound.
This might be
Yeah.
stopping our audio, maybe. I don't know. Maybe not.
Oh, it should be going.
All right, Pictures and Wallets. We got it. You want to say anything more about Sam or making this one? This is this the most recent? This is the most recent thing that you've made that's been released, right? Or maybe not.
Yeah, probably.
This isn't that
It's
old.
not even released yet.
Oh, well, there you go. Not even out yet, but recently finished within the last handful of months, right?
Yeah, we finished this in January. Sam's just awesome. He's great. He's super talented. You'll get it. I mean, he's young and he loves the Beatles, and
I can hear the
So much.
McCartney. I can hear the McCartney in the tunes big time.
yeah, yeah.
All right, man.
Right.
Well, Pictures and Wallets.
All right.
Let's roll it, and then
Cool.
we'll come back and say goodbye and wrap this thing up. What do you say, Evan? You gonna hang
good.
out? You want to hang out till the song's over?
Sure.
All right, cool. So we'll check it out right now. Here it is. Sam Niche, Pictures in Wallets.
How do you let someone know what you're thinking? Know that you're sinking. Know they've upset you. How do you let someone go on convincing it's you that they're missing? Though you're not listening to a word you say you want.
Yeah, man. Cool tune.
I'll
Great-
say this
great
about
production.
Ollie.
Yeah, we got him in here.
Yeah, we've had some times.
Evan,
One of the pictures was with you and Ollie.
right.
One of the intro pictures that we had
During
rolling
the
was you and
making
Ollie.
of an Attention record, I forget if it was, I don't know which one it was. It doesn't matter.
It was Through the Wire. Or not,
Um,
it was Tattered Youth.
I got Ollie. He was a young pup. And Evan decided, like, his mission. I remember him saying it early on. He's like, dude, before this record's done, I'm going to teach this pup shake. He had no idea how to do it. And every day, man, Evan put it to him. Let's see. Can we get him on camera right now?
What's up, Ollie?
That's it.
What's up, buddy?
Right. And to this day, thanks to Mr. Evan Bakke, shake. Yeah.
Yeah,
Other
good
paw.
boy, buddy.
Woo! That's Bakke's work right there. That's producer's patience at its finest right there to teach a dog, a brand new pup, how to shake.
He was a stubborn dog back then, dude.
Sure was. He still is, man. He's a total prick. You should see him.
Yeah,
Look at him.
yeah. It's a
But
good
anyway,
dog.
yeah, good to have the old dog on the show. Evans logged quite a few hours with Ollie. He'd be stoked to see you in real life for sure.
Yeah.
But man, absolute pleasure having you come
Oh,
on
yeah.
tonight. I really appreciate it. Thanks for staying up late. I know you got that baby waking up soon. It's an hour later there than it is here.
It's 6 a.m. every day, man.
I got it like
It
clockwork.
doesn't matter.
Right.
It honestly doesn't matter.
It doesn't
anymore.
matter.
It's 6 a.m.
I got it.
Nope.
Yeah. It's
All right.
awesome though, man. But yeah,
All
I
right.
mean, I really appreciate you coming on. Like I said earlier, everyone check out Evan's work. Everyone check out the Power Station New England. Check out Chuck Leah. Check out the Sam record. Just check it out. You know, we're Evan, much like myself, is just a dude trying to do the thing, and he's in it for the long haul. You know, and that's it. I mean,
That's it.
that's all you
Nothing
need to
else.
know, right? We're here. We're in it for the long haul. We'll be here next year. We'll be here the year after that. Come hell or high water, we're making records because that's what we do. So I really appreciate you coming on, man. We'll have to do it again soon. We'll have to get together. I want to come out to the Power Station again as soon as
Next Chuck record.
next Chuck
Sure.
record, right? As soon as Chuck starts writing those checks. Chuck,
Or
you
that
you
other-
listen to him, Chuck?
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
All right, man.
All right,
Yeah,
man. Well,
I'll
yeah,
probably
once again,
talk
thanks,
to you.
man. Yep, we'll talk
Back
soon.
the next couple days. Then. All right.
Cool.
later.
Give me a call. See you, bud.
All right.
Evan Bakke.
Evan Bakke, yeah, longtime friend, just a great dude. You know, I for a long time called him the Sonic Sherpa because he just kind of like just has a way of he's real mellow in the studio, real low stress. Everything's cool. Everything's gonna be great. That shit rubs off on you, man. A lot of guys don't make records like that. A lot of guys throw shit at you and get you pissed off and think that if they get you to a certain point on the edge that you're going to give this great performance. That may work. Me and Evan come a little more from the like, hey, man, it's all good. Let's take a break. Let's go have some oysters with Chuck and come back and, whatever. We keep it easy because making records is hard work and it is a career, but it is supposed to be fun. And I don't know. I don't want it to stop being fun. I just, want it to keep progressing all together and be fun the whole time. So I'm just going to let Ollie have
Ollie's
his jingle
trying to be on the
segment.
stream. We should sample this, man. I mean,
You're
I know
dragging.
he's on albums all
dragging.
over.
There you go. Play time. All right. We'll wait.
All right.
All right. And then the sneeze. Yeah, show off. You want to finish it up tonight, bud? You want to get up here one more time? Get up here and talk to the stream. Get up here and tell the stream what it is. Come on. Get up here. There he is. So, if he could speak English, I know what he'd tell you. He'd say until next week, keep it tight.